who says, "Ask Tony, your Batman hoodie needs a WCW Thunder logo on the back."
I
What do you think
doubt it.
about that?
I don't want a Thunder logo anywhere near me. Thank you very much, though, Bad Money, for saying that.
You're anti-Thunder?
Yeah.
If you were to rank your favorite WCW shows, I'm not talking about pay-per-views, I'm saying actual television shows, because you did Saturday Night, you did Nitro, you did Thunder, but you also did the syndicated programs. What were your favorites? Like, is Nitro your favorite, or did you enjoy Saturday Night or something else better?
Well, I think in the WCW era, Nitro would have to be your favorite because that's where everything happened. Um, my
What was more
favorite, my
fun?
favorite,
Night.
my favorite show was the old studio show before Center Stage, and
Okay, that's where I was getting to.
yeah,
So, I was going to ask, did you prefer? We'll call it the 605 show, and I
yes,
mean that to mean JCP or WCW Monday Nitro. I know Nitro enjoyed greater success,
of course,
but you were probably more impressionable and less, I don't know, jaded
yeah,
towards professional wrestling, might be the right phrase, in the
yeah.
JCP era. Which of those would have been your preference?
Oh, the 605 studio show would have been my preference
What was
because
that based on? Just your youth in the business,
yeah,
the size of the building? I
no.
mean, what changed?
What changed was I went from being a big time wrestling fan to just a couple of years later I was on TBS, and that was not lost on me. And I've talked about this how many, gosh, a lot of times that here I'm holding the microphone for Nature Boy Ric Flair,
Right.
and that's to me it was just absolutely great. I noticed something here that I thought was very cool. The match is over now, but George Animal Steel went down, and you could see that he was cutting his forehead.
Oh yeah.
The referee did a hell of a job by kneeling next to George and putting his knee up against George's face so nobody could see him doing it. I thought that was so great. It
You
just
got to
was,
be sure to tell some of the boys and girls in the wrestling business these days about that spot.
yeah. Well, our camera is a little bit more intrusive than they were back in the 70s. You know,
Every little bit helps, though.
you're not kidding. It does.
Jason Taylor, who's with us here live, shout out to him. So, speaking of NASCAR, has Tony watched the new Earnhardt documentary series on Prime? I don't know if you've seen it yet, Tony, but I would
Oh,
say, as someone who was not a NASCAR fan,
hmm,
I watched it, and I happened to be fortunate enough to watch it with a big Earnhardt fan,
hmm,
and just getting more context about this guy that I had heard so much about. I mean, we've all known growing up in the South, Tony, over the last, gosh, 35 years, it's been impossible to not see Dale Earnhardt's name and likeness everywhere.
right.
And he is sort of, as I understand it, as a NASCAR fan, he's almost like their Michael Jordan, if you will.
Sure.
That's the way he's regarded and beloved and all that sort of thing. So I knew that, but that was really the extent of my knowledge. And I knew that he passed away in Talladega in February of 2001. But actually seeing
It
the
was Daytona,
documentary,
right? It was
oh
Daytona, right?
yes, you're right, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right. What an incredible documentary series, Tony. I highly recommend you check it out. It's on Prime. I think you dig it.
Yeah, I think I would too. Did they talk about, and this is the problem, and I don't want to make this a NASCAR podcast, obviously. Did they talk about how NASCAR had kind of alienated the South?
They didn't spend a ton of time on that because he
Yeah,
passed away.
right. But
But I mean, they certainly talked about how, it grew in popularity and exploded, and that anytime you hear of something that's in the South, quote unquote, exploding in popularity, it's Eric Bischoff speak for we're going to Chicago.
yes, right.
Yeah.
Or Las Vegas.
Yes. Or
Yeah,
New York.
or New York, absolutely. Because Eric was dead set against anything that had a Southern ring to it.
Well, and
Uh,
by the way, I do think he's gotten a bad rap on that. And I want to explain that.
really?
And obviously, I'm saying that as a hillbilly, but I am saying I do think that a criticism about the WWF or about WCW from a WWF perspective was that the WWF was already positioned in the marketplace as quote unquote the big time. So you had WCW sucking hind teat, as we say here in the South. And I do believe that in order to sort of categorize them as being major league, that you would need to overcome preemptively objections like, oh, well, it's a regional promotion.
Yeah.
And I know that for certain, once upon a time, Crockett viewed, his business as a territory, and
Right.
his territory was, of course, the South. So
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But I think it was necessary to appeal to Madison Avenue. I'm not talking about the actual fan base, but I'm saying the agency business. Like, I do think that mattered. I mean, it certainly mattered to Vince. I mean, Vince tried to fire JR over and over and over again because he was too Southern sounding. So it is a thing that people are conscious of. And whether or not it's right is secondary to, is it real? Is the criticism real?
Right. I can only remember this. I can remember Eric saying a few things about how Southern JR's voice was. I know that when I worked for Vince in '89, that Bruce would come to me and say, Vince thinks you're sounding too Southern. I'm thinking, what the hell? I worked pretty hard to get rid of that. But I also remember, and this is the one thing I remember more than anything else. We had a show coming up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It may have been that double cage match. And I said, we're going to the Lawrence. Well, I was running down the shows, and I said, we're going to the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And Eric got on me. He said, don't say that. I said, what do you mean? He said, no one cares at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Oh, I said it was the home of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. And he said, no one cares it's for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. That's a Southern connotation. And I remember thinking, what is wrong about promoting venues? What is wrong about saying, because of anybody who's going to come to Winston-Salem knows Wake Forest, blah, the Carolinas, blah, blah, blah. But I remember him saying that. I remember thinking when he said that, boy, he is so dead set against the South that he even got on me for saying something like that, which to me was ridiculous. So that's what makes me think that Eric was really against the Southern connotations that we had. And I get it. I mean, he did a lot to pull us out of that. Hulk Hogan was now with us. The Macho Man Randy Savage was now with us. Mean Gene, Bobby the Brain Heenan, So
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.